Parker, look at you. This, if you turn around, are you just casting your eyes over your kingdom there?
That's exactly right. Straight from Moscow.
I love it. All right, Parker, you are the founder of Aura, an app that lets you trade perps and prediction markets all in one app. It's sort of like Hyperliquid and Polymarket sitting in a tree. Is that a fair description of what you're building, or a
Yeah, I'd
different one?
say that's pretty fair. We were also issuing our own markets via Hit3. So, I mean, the overall thesis is uh, consumer speculation will predominantly be perps and prediction markets. It's kind of like the perfect tools in one toolkit for all speculative needs. So that's our area of focus.
All right, so yeah, what is I mean, I guess this idea of bringing a massive amount of leverage and oh, I
Oh,
don't know if we're still
is it
live here. I
just
just
me or did
lost
we
my
lose him?
screen.
Yeah, we lost Jess for a second here. I'll try to cover. So yeah, Parker, I'd love to know what got you, what I mean. I want to know more about what you're working on. We got the like general like two kids kissing in a tree, which are two very hot things that are interesting right now between Hyperliquid and Polymarket. But yeah, could you go a little bit deeper? I'm curious what got you into it and when why you started with it.
Yeah, so we originally founded Aura because we felt that like all capital markets would come on chain. It's just a matter of time, and we felt like it would happen really quickly. And there was a huge opportunity to build like the ultimate consumer wrapper. It became pretty clear that it was predominantly going to be dominated by perps and prediction markets. So our kind of goal is to kind of create that perfect roof to house both of those venues for consumers, but also on the back end, kind of issue our own markets where gaps may exist, such as some like RWA assets. Like we are launching the first ever treasury perps up to 100x leverage on a $360 trillion market. We will be serving the other HIP3 markets as well, and looking to solve some of the cross margin issues that people will be faced with between all the different markets. Uh, and yeah, we're pretty excited about also our partnership with Polymarket. There's a lot we can't share about the nature of the relationship, but obviously we'll be serving them. And we're excited about having some of the markets alongside each other. So you could imagine you could express a directional trade with leverage on one hand, but also have the conditional legs alongside it.
Sorry, boys, I got cut off there, but I think Serpent, you guys just rock and rolled it. So, I guess a big question I have is sort of this idea of serving retail, and yet it also seems like you're building this sort of professional. I mean, leveraging perps, blending them with sort of prediction markets, hedging across multiple different markets. It seems like pretty advanced stuff. Are you sort of betting on this prosumer sort of user base growing? Am I just out of touch with what Gen Z is doing, and retail is actually just far more advanced than I can even imagine?
I'd argue that first off, anytime you kind of like launch a new trading app into the wild, the first users are going to be the kind of existing active high frequency users. Over time, that becomes more passive and more like retail, but it's a journey. But I would argue that some of the like cross margin things we're looking to solve is purely UX, so that users don't need to transfer collateral from like one market to another because maybe they want to trade like Bitcoin on Hypercore, but now they want to trade, one of the Mag 7 on maybe units HIP3 decks, and they need to transfer that over. So just eliminating that need is, I say, useful for everybody.
I love it.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, sir.
Well, okay. So I'm curious too. Like one of the things that is really interesting is you've gone after two ecosystems that are looking for people to build on top of their platforms. And actually, when I was looking into what you guys are working on, I didn't even realize Polymarket really is leaning into now this idea of like promoting builders and helping builders build things on top of Polymarket. But then you've got Hyperliquid, which like a year ago, no one was really talking about Hyperliquid. So curious how you got into both of those. Like, how did you meet or get introduced to? Maybe not on the Hyperliquid side, because I think they're a little harder, but like on the Polymarket side, how did you get into that builder program, especially for anyone else that's listening that might be interested in building something on top of Polymarket too?
Yeah, there's actually kind of like a long and short story because the long story is I'd always wanted to build a product like this from a young age. Uh, in like the trad world, started cold calling lawyers. The whole regulatory like red tape was just insane. Gave up. So all these years later, kind of like a bit of a full circle moment, and getting to use builder codes and stuff like that make something like this much more possible. Um, so that's number one. But number two, I started as just a Hyperliquid user myself, and then naturally ended up here. But Polymarket came to us. I think I don't know. They saw what we were doing as far as the limited information we had released about three, our involvement with Hyperliquid, and kind of our thesis around like what we wanted consumers doing. And they felt it was like a natural fit, and we hit it off pretty quick.
So you're pretty clearly a big Hip3 bull. Can you maybe just remind our audience what that is, and then just give us the bull case for what that unlocks for building a product like Aura?
Yeah. So it's a new program that Hyperliquid is rolling out. It allows people to launch a permissionless perpetual futures DEX. So you need your own front end to distribute. You need 1 million hype staked, crowdsourced or from yourself if you have it. That's subject to slashing, but we'll also get a percentage of the fees that the DEX generates. And then furthermore, you also need your own liquidity for the DEX. But what is like the huge upside? It's probably the convergence of uh, capital markets as we know it from all these different categories coming under one roof as perpetual future, which is just an amazing
So
asset.
where did you get the million hype to do this? Because I feel like there's all this hype about being able to go build with this sort of new feature set, and yet there's a fairly big barrier to anybody really getting in and using it.
Yeah. So investors, liquid funds, whales. We are also launching via Kinetic, so there will be a portion available to community. Yeah.
So it's like a crowd. Like, could you crowdsource it? Like, if I represent a liquid fund that has staked hype right now, am I able to work with builders that I want to see succeed and build things on it, and potentially help like contribute to that million staked hype that's required?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you have upside, you'll get a percentage of the fees the market generates. You would just need to make like a qualitative decision on your end. Like, is this team someone who can set up a proper like risk management and so on and so forth? Because the hype is subject to slashing.
That's super cool. I had no idea that that was a thing. That is bullish for Hyperliquid. I should be paying more attention to Hip3.
It's a hype sync, another hype
Yeah,
sync.
You got to listen to more 11 a.m., sir, because I think
I know, right?
the LST world over there in Hyperliquid is super interesting for this as well. And do you have a sense of timeline on this? Like we've been talking about this for months now. Are you guys rolling out? Because I think you're in testnet right now, which I'm very curious what that actually means for you guys as an app. But when are we going live?
Yeah, we have multiple timelines. So we have like the consumer facing app, that's in test flight with a handful of users already. We have a wait list of over 20,000 people, of whom are like already using Hyperliquid all the time, cumulatively hundreds of millions of monthly volume. We're probably like a month and a half away from the full public launch for that. That'll serve day one Hypercore, all EVM plus Solana. So you could trade on chain spot as well. And Polymarket. It's all gasless, no seed phrases, all that good stuff. As far as like HIP3 goes, we're subject to Hyperliquid's timelines, and they're extremely tight-lipped. Nobody
Right.
knows. If someone does, it's not me. But we speculate maybe by the end of the year. Nevertheless, we're ready to go.
So I'm interested in sort of the competitive set here, the landscape here, because we had Mac Brennan on, who's the founder of Zero.xyz, or Z, which is trying to be a prime broker, and really the main focus there is sort of this unified liquidity across the multiple trading venues. Seems like that's kind of the core promise here that you're going after. Are we in this big arms race right now for sort of being the interface that can aggregate the demand and liquidity? And why won't Phantom just win that?
Yeah. So obviously we're using someone else's infrastructure. So that's one side of the puzzle that's taken care of. As far as the like bootstrapping the demand, I think there's not going to be a winner takes all here. these products are very different in nature. We've already kind of talked about it, like the retail passive, maybe that's more of like Phantom's user,
Mm.
whereas like the Axiom user is definitely not a Phantom user. Um, so I do think there's a lot of different sets of needs and different flavors that will exist. Our general approach is um, we we want to fall somewhere closer to the high frequency user versus the complete normie retail passive user, just a much higher ARPU. Um, and we want to serve a wide variety of markets, especially perps and prediction markets.
And maybe put a fine point on why marrying those two markets is a big unlock. Like what are we now able to actually do that we couldn't if those were two separate venues?
Mhm. Well, as far as just like general UX, it's just seamless. But as far as like the two asset classes go, there's just a huge diversity of speculative needs. So perpetuals are great for perpetual markets that are just you just want to go long short with leverage. They're capital efficient. They're easy to use, so on and so forth. With Polymarket, you get some cool, sports, politics, events, these cultural kind of moments. So you kind of get everything truly between them.
I would think that would also help with some of the liquidity challenges that Polymarket has as it continues to like spread itself wide in new events. And you look at they tweeted something earlier, the market had 32,000 in volume, and you're like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Like you want to talk about volume. You talk about adding shorts and longs to things, or just like connecting it with the Hyperliquid ecosystem. You'd like to think that that could help with some of the liquidity challenges that any prediction market has.
I 100% agree. I think there's a lot of crossover with the users, and most people are just too lazy to move their funds around. Like, understandably, I am too.
Mhm.
um,
I'm afraid to take my money out of Hyperliquid because I just like it being there so much. It's so easy to use everything. So
there's also
100%.
something about like having that singular P&L that that's kind of like your baby, and as soon as you move it out, it gets messy emotionally.
Yes,
So,
that's the truth. Oh
so
man,
yeah, for sure.
messy emotionally. I mean, I think that's an understated but pretty impactful sort of
Because
benefit here, right?
I remember from years ago, one of like the key features that sold me on Robinhood was just that portfolio chart. It's like that one all holy chart that's like, is an indicator of everything I'm doing. Um, we say it all the time in crypto that everything is so fragmented, but it like beyond just the lot of buttons, it's sometimes as simple as like where is a single number and chart of everything that's happening.
God, yeah. MetaMask is literally the worst for that, man. Like the heart attack I had when I had to go when they updated their UX, or I had to go and actually select different networks, and I thought I had lost like 50% of my money. I was like, oh my God. I want to so how are you thinking about growing enterprise value for Aura? Like, is this something that you plan on IPOing in the future? Is there token plans? How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, our general thoughts are like we're in no rush for a token. If we do, it's on the back of significant revenues. We can do a healthy amount of buybacks, treat it like a quasi equity, hyper liquid playbook, essentially.
Okay, Hyperliquid Playbook. I mean, that's a good North Star to have. All right, so I know
It's
you're
nice to
in
have.
test flight right now. I'm sure there's some folks that would love to go click some buttons. How do people get in, and can we get them in?
Yeah, if they DM me, our communities and stuff are private right now. So if they DM me, I have my Telegram link and
Yeah, that is
profile in my bio.
incredibly bold, sir. That is incredibly bold. I saw that and I was like, "There's no. This has got to be to a channel. This can't be to his actual
You would be
Telegram."
shocked, like how I put it up there thinking like, all right, here we go. But it's not nearly as bad as you think. Outside of every once in a while, an announcement will go public, and then I have a swarm of like auditors in my DMs. But you can never fend off the auditors. They're everywhere. But
Yeah, they'll
but
find your
yeah, you
emails
can.
regardless. So good God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can find me there. Message me. We can get you on the test flight, and we are when we do roll it out, we'll have first access to quote VIPs. It's group based, so there is a group feature built into the app. So especially if you have like a community or a group of traders, something like that, you'll have priority access.
Ooh, 11am.club degen traders. Maybe that's a thing. I think you all out there like to click buttons and buy tokens. So, all right, Parker. Well, look, appreciate you jumping on. I feel like we caught you relatively early in your journey, but you're clearly building in some of the hottest markets that exist right now. And I can only imagine what pushing the go live button on this app will look like, and how your life is going to change after that for hopefully for better. Appreciate you hopping on and sharing. And I think we'd love to check in again once the product is live and you can catch us up on the next version of your journey.
Sounds good. Love to come back. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, boss.